Hi, RushRecap here. Today I am going to explain a movie called The Fix. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. In a world not too far from now, the atmosphere has grown so toxic that stepping outside requires a mask, and every home must have air filters. A corporation named Infiltrating has monopolized the market with a product called iRemedy. This medication allows people to breathe freely for 6 hours without masks, but its exorbitant price means only the wealthy can afford it. In a dimly lit laboratory, Solomon records a video message. He ominously announces his plan to ration iRemedy, foreseeing chaos as desperation overtakes society. This chaos, he believes, will provide the perfect opportunity to launch his next experiment. Solomon acknowledges the risks. His new formula could potentially trigger fatal immune reactions, but he deems it necessary for humanity's survival. His monologue is interrupted by an alert. The world's last green zone has succumbed to pollution. This catastrophic event ensures that within 18 months, 83% of the global population will face exposure to lethal toxins. Spider, Solomon's close ally, notices suspicious activity around their lab. Realizing their research is in jeopardy, she devises a plan to protect their work. A new party drug named Blue is trending, so Spider suggests disguising their experimental compound in the same manner. If authorities intercept it, they might mistake it for a recreational substance and avoid rigorous testing. Meanwhile, Ella, a model for Infiltrating's promotional campaigns, grapples with her own struggles. Her mother, a former model, tragically took her own life, leaving Ella to inherit her legacy. Her peers resent her as a Nepo baby, attributing her success to her mother's fame. Ella cherishes her mother's memory, keeping her iRemedy in a locket that once belonged to her. During a break, Ella receives a text from her boyfriend Tully, canceling their date due to work commitments. Feeling dejected, she messages her best friend Gina for support. Unbeknownst to Ella, Gina and Tully are secretly having an affair. Tully wants to come clean, but Gina convinces him to wait, citing the anniversary of Ella's mother's death. That evening, Tully visits a shady neighborhood to purchase party drugs while Gina waits in the car. Ella calls Gina to vent about Tully's absence, and Gina, feigning concern, invites her to a party. Ella declines, feeling too low to socialize. As she waits for her train, a homeless man at the station proclaims that the polluted air is divine punishment for humanity's sins. At the drug dealer's hideout, Tully unexpectedly stumbles upon Solomon and Spider's secret lab. He observes Solomon testing a tiny sample of their blue compound, mistaking it for a new party drug. Seizing an opportunity, Tully discreetly steals a vial of the compound before leaving with his purchased drugs. However, an unknown observer monitoring Solomon notices Tully's actions. Elsewhere, Infiltrating's CEO reprimands his son, Eric, for the company's declining public image. Eric, a scientist working on a new formula for iRemedy, faces mounting pressure to deliver results. His latest experiment fails when a test rat dies within minutes of exposure to the new drug. Frustrated, Eric smashes his tablet. His assistant, Angela, informs him they've traced a hacker known as Lazarus to Luxembourg. This hacker recently disrupted a televised interview by accusing Infiltrating of withholding critical resources. Eric's personal life is equally fraught. His son Max calls him secretly, as Max's parents are divorced. When Max mentions giving money to a homeless man, Eric chastises him, labeling the poor as parasites. The call is cut short by Eric's ex-wife, who announces her plans to move to a new city with Max, intensifying Eric's worries about his son's safety in the polluted red zones. The next morning, Ella wakes up feeling a weight pressing on her heart. She reflects on her mother's struggles and the secrets her locket holds, unaware that her life is about to take a dramatic turn. Across town, Solomon and Spider continue monitoring the impact of their disguised blue compound. They notice unexpected trends as reports surface of partygoers experiencing heightened senses after exposure to the substance. Ella decides to distract herself by heading to the gym. While jogging on a treadmill, she notices a group of strangers handing out what they call freedom pills, claiming the pills are a solution to the restrictive air masks. Intrigued but wary, she declines their offer. However, the interaction leaves her with a nagging feeling that Infiltrating's monopoly might not be as unshakable as it seems. Meanwhile, Tully wakes up in a cold sweat. The vial of blue compound he stole lies on his bedside table, a symbol of his guilt and curiosity. Deciding to experiment, he dissolves a tiny portion of the substance into his drink. Within minutes, he feels an unexplainable surge of energy and clarity, but his heart races uncontrollably. Fearing he might have poisoned himself, he rushes to Gina for help. At the etheric headquarters, Eric analyzes the blue substance confiscated from Lazarus's allies. He's alarmed to find that it's unlike anything his team has encountered. Its molecular structure suggests a potential breakthrough in air purification, but there's a sinister undertone, traces of elements that could induce fatal immune responses in certain individuals. Eric orders immediate testing, suspecting it to be part of Solomon's work. Ella, still grappling with feelings of loneliness, accepts Gina's invitation to a party that evening. The party is vibrant, with music pulsing through the walls and an air of reckless abandon. Ella catches Tully in a corner, nervously holding a drink. She confronts him about his distant behavior, but he deflects, claiming work stress. Gina, sensing tension, interrupts with a toast to Ella, masking her guilt with a radiant smile. As the night deepens, someone introduces the blue compound to the crowd, labeling it as a new sensation. Unaware of its origins, Ella hesitates but is encouraged by her peers to join in. Reluctantly, she takes a small dose. Moments later, she feels an intense connection to the world around her. Her senses sharpen, and her emotions amplify. For the first time in years, she feels truly alive. The joy is short-lived. A partygoer collapses, convulsing violently. Panic erupts as more attendees show adverse reactions. Ella, strangely unaffected, springs into action, trying to assist those around her. Her quick thinking and calm demeanor surprise even herself. Unbeknownst to her, the compound has activated latent abilities in her system, setting her apart from the rest. Solomon receives an urgent notification about the incident at the party. He and Spider realize that the blue compound has been exposed prematurely, jeopardizing their mission. Spider suggests abandoning the experiment, but Solomon insists on pushing forward. The world is already dying, he argues. What's a few more casualties if it means saving the rest? Eric, on the other hand, sees the incident as an opportunity. He instructs his team to intensify their surveillance on Solomon and his network, convinced that the blue compound holds the key to etheric survival. As reports flood in, Eric's suspicions about Ella grow stronger. Surveillance footage from the party shows her as the only person unaffected by the chaos. Ella, now under etheric's watchful eye, begins to notice strange changes in herself. Her reflexes are quicker, her stamina has increased, and she feels an almost magnetic pull toward others in need. Determined to understand what's happening, she reaches out to Gina, only to discover her betrayal. The revelation devastates her, but it also ignites a fire within her, a determination to uncover the truth about Etheric, her mother's death, and her newfound abilities. As tensions escalate, Solomon and Eric's paths inevitably cross. Eric confronts Solomon, accusing him of endangering lives with reckless experimentation. Solomon counters, exposing Etheric's own dark secrets, hidden formulas, manipulated data, and the exploitation of the poor. The confrontation becomes physical as both men fight not just for control of the blue compound but for their vision of humanity's future. Meanwhile, Ella uncovers hidden files in her mother's locket, revealing her mother's involvement with Etheric's earliest experiments. The files hint at a genetic component to the blue compound's effects, suggesting that Ella's immunity is no coincidence. Armed with this knowledge, Ella makes a bold decision: to infiltrate Etheric and expose their corruption to the world. Fueled by anger and a sense of purpose, Ella devises a plan to infiltrate Etheric's headquarters. With Tully's access card, stolen during their last tense interaction, she gains entry to the lower levels of the facility. Navigating dimly lit corridors, she discovers a hidden lab filled with test subjects, many of whom are children. The sight shakes her to her core, but it also solidifies her resolve. Using the files from her mother's locket, Ella accesses a terminal, downloading critical data onto a secure drive. The information reveals shocking details. Etheric has been secretly testing the blue compound on vulnerable populations, including the sick and impoverished. Worse still, Eric knew the compound's potential risks and continued production anyway, driven by profit and power. Before Ella can escape, alarms blare throughout the building. Surveillance cameras catch her movements, and Eric himself appears on the monitor. "You've inherited more from your mother than you realize," he taunts. "But bravery alone won't save you." Security guards rush toward her location, leaving her with no choice but to flee deeper into the facility. Cornered, Ella contacts Solomon, realizing he's the only person capable of countering Etheric's power. Though hesitant at first, Solomon agrees to help, recognizing Ella's unique immunity as a potential game-changer. He and Spider arrange a covert extraction, guiding her out of the facility through Etheric's underground waste system. Once safe, Solomon introduces Ella to his underground network, a group of scientists, activists, and former Etheric employees. They've been working in secret to create an antidote to the blue compound's adverse effects, but they need Ella's unique DNA to finalize it. Reluctantly, she agrees to undergo testing, enduring painful procedures for the greater good. During this time, Ella forms a bond with Spider, who reveals her tragic past. Her family was among Etheric's early victims. Spider's resilience and determination inspire Ella, giving her hope amidst the chaos. Together, they plan a public exposé to reveal Etheric's crimes to the world. Eric, now aware of Ella's alliance with Solomon, escalates his efforts to silence them. He deploys drones to track their movements, and Etheric's propaganda machine launches a smear campaign, branding Ella and Solomon as terrorists. The public, already divided, grows increasingly uncertain about who to trust. Meanwhile, Solomon's team develops the antidote, but its success hinges on a large-scale test. Ella volunteers to administer the antidote at a heavily guarded Etheric facility where the blue compound is being mass-produced. Disguised as an employee, she infiltrates the facility, relying on her enhanced abilities to evade detection. The operation takes a deadly turn when Eric arrives in person, leading a squad of armed guards. In a tense showdown, Ella confronts him, demanding answers about her mother's death. Eric admits to orchestrating the cover-up, justifying it as a necessary evil to maintain control. His arrogance blinds him to Ella's determination, and in a dramatic struggle, she overpowers him, releasing the antidote into the facility's ventilation system. As the antidote spreads, affected individuals begin to recover, and the truth about Etheric's corruption comes to light. Whistleblowers within the company come forward, corroborating Ella's findings. Media outlets broadcast the exposé, sparking global outrage and demands for justice. Eric is arrested, but his influence ensures a drawn-out legal battle. Solomon, despite his controversial methods, is hailed as a hero by many. He offers Ella a place in his network, but she declines, choosing instead to pursue her own path. Ella returns to her modest apartment, the weight of her journey finally settling in. She gazes out the window at a city in turmoil but also in transformation. The air feels cleaner, the people more hopeful. Her mother's locket, now a symbol of her strength, rests in her hand. As she prepares for the next chapter of her life, Ella reflects on her journey. She may not have all the answers, but she knows one thing for certain: she has the power to make a difference, and she won't stop until the world is truly free. As the final chapters of Ella's journey unfold, one thing becomes clear: true power lies not in dominance, but in the courage to challenge the system, to stand up against corruption, and to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Her battle was never just against a corporation. It was against a world that turned a blind eye to the suffering of the innocent. But Ella, with her indomitable spirit, proved that even in the darkest moments, there is light to be found. Through pain, sacrifice, and the loss of everything she thought she knew, she found a new purpose, one that would ripple out and change the world forever. The fight is far from over, and while the future remains uncertain, Ella now knows that the greatest strength she possesses is not her immunity, but her ability to inspire others to rise with her. For the world that Ella helped awaken, the road ahead may be long, but it's one worth walking. It's a journey that begins with a single act of defiance, and if her story has taught us anything, it's this: we all have the power to change the course of history. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Ella's fight may have ended, but the story doesn't stop here. The question now is, what will you do to ensure that the next chapter is a better one? Until next time, stay vigilant, stay strong, and remember, the world needs people like Ella more than ever.